This study involves the development and examination of a shame-based model of obsessive-compulsive disorder. The chief characteristics of OCD are obsessions and compulsions. Obsessions are unrelenting and unwanted intrusive thoughts or impulses which cause distress and are strongly resisted. They typically feature themes of contamination, violence, danger, immorality, or sacrilege. For an example, an impulse to attack an old lady, or a thought, oh, maybe I just hit someone with my car. And compulsions are repetitive thoughts or behaviours which are performed to alleviate or avoid the distress or anxiety associated with their obsessions, or to prevent a dreaded outcome. And typical compulsions include checking, counting, repeating, and reassurance seeking. So almost all of us experience unwanted intrusive thoughts, but only around 3% of us develop OCD. So the question then becomes, why doesn't everyone who has intrusive thoughts attempt to suppress or neutralise them? Why doesn't everyone develop compulsions? So research has attempted to answer this question, and a widely accepted cognitive theory is that intrusions become obsessions only if they're interpreted as evidence that a valued aspect of the self is defective. Which then brings us to shame, because shame is the emotion that arises when an aspect of the self is seen as defective. The researchers Lewis and Tangney and Deering have done some great work in defining shame, and it may best be defined by contrasting it with guilt. So in guilt, the negative evaluation is limited to behaviour. So I did a terrible thing, and I feel awful about it, and I need to make up for it. And in shame, the negative evaluation extends beyond the misdeed, so that the self becomes tainted. I did a terrible thing, I'm an awful person, I wish I could sink into the ground. So putting the pieces together. If intrusions become obsessions when they're appraised as evidence that the self is defective, and shame arises when the self is viewed as defective, it follows then that shame plays an important role in OCD. Which brings me to our theory that individuals attempt to avoid, conceal, suppress, or neutralise intrusions to regulate shame. To investigate this theory, we developed a scale to measure shame associated with intrusive thoughts. And 563 participants completed a battery of questionnaires, including our new scale, measures of beliefs associated with OCD, and measures of OCD symptoms. We found significant correlations between intrusion-related shame and the experience of shame scale, which speaks to the scale's validity, and between intrusion-related shame and self-ambivalence and thought-action fusion, which are implicated in OCD, and also with both obsessions and compulsions. So what does this research offer? Well, it presents a framework for understanding the involvement of shame in OCD, and it also provides a rationale for addressing shame in cognitive behavioural treatments of OCD.